morning. Today's topic is water repellency, because I'm sure you have seen many advertisements and videos showing water repellencies of waxes and coatings, where the person often sprays water and you see the water cascading off the surface, lots of water beads and things like that. So, what does water repellency do for you? What is the significance of water repellency? In reality, water repellency actually means very little. I will explain why. What is a beautiful car? A beautiful car is a car that is stain-free, allowing the gloss to show through. That is a clean and beautiful looking car. That's the kind of car where your friends will give you positive remarks, praises. You get what I mean? So, a beautiful car doesn't have stains. However, how can water repellency contribute to a beautiful car? In reality, very little. Because water repellency is not dirt repellency. Most of the contaminants out there, when it falls onto your car, are a little bit oily in nature, because they are from diesel fumes of trucks, from two-stroke motorbikes, and things like that. So it's a bit oily in nature. And water repellency is not oil repellency. That's why after you drive through a rain or for long distances through the rain, even though with a fresh layer of wax or coating, at last when you reach your destination, right, of course the coated car will appear less dirty. But if you don't wash the car, gradually all the tiny bits of remaining contaminants will build up and they will form stains, which is why you still need to wash the car even though you're using coatings or sealants or waxes or nothing at all on your paintwork. So what does water repellency give you? In reality, very little, because it just repels water, rainwater, and rainwater will be full of dirt and contaminants, and not 100% of them will be repelled off the surface of the paintwork. A certain amount of contaminants will still be on your paintwork, which again makes it necessary for you to wash the car often. Now, the most important thing to realize is water beads themselves actually serve very little purpose. It's merely very nice to look at, very gratifying, but what do the water beads do for you? A lot of the dirt on the surface will be brought away, flushed away by the moving water beads, but a lot of contaminants will still be left behind. So what you actually want, what most car owners want, is actually dirt repellency, so that there's less staining and you don't need to wash the car that often. And I can assure you that most waxes cannot do that for you, because most waxes are oily in nature. Yes, they make the car paintwork and the color look very good, but it will also retain a lot of dirt and grime, making it necessary for you to wash the car quite often. Again, there's nothing wrong with this, because traditionally this was what we used to do. But with the advent and introduction of coatings, it has made that paint surface less likely to retain more dirt, making it appear cleaner for a longer period of time, and thereby it gives you the impression that you don't need to wash the car that often. It's true, but if you don't wash the car often, those things will build up, and by the time you wash it with a regular car shampoo, you might not be able to remove all the dirt. And the worst part is you cannot see that, and gradually those dirt will build up, and it's more noticeable on white color cars, where after a long period of time the paintwork looks a bit yellowish, off-white, slightly grayish. Even though it's clean, you have just washed it, but it doesn't look pristine. That is because a lot of the dirt has built up on the paintwork. Another point is a slick and slippery smooth surface. What does that give you? In reality, very little. It merely feels good to the touch. So it gratifies you that there is a layer of something on it, and you feel good that it is slippery, slick, and smooth. But a slippery, slick, and smooth surface, if it is oily, okay, or if it is coated, might not be able to repel water that well. Alright, water will still form as beads on that surface, but the moment the water flow stops, those beads stop moving on the surface. I call them sticky beads. Look at this picture and this video. So as you can see, the water beads will stop when the water flow stops. And the reason why the water was jetting off, repelled from the surface so tenaciously was simply because the water that you spray from the pipe, from the gun or whatever, has a lot of force behind it. So it makes the water beads itself propel with great force and speed across the surface. But rainwater does not fall onto your car like that. Rainwater falls very gently onto the car, especially when the car is not moving. And those millions of beads will remain on the surface of the car. And if you live in an area that has rainwater that's loaded with minerals and maybe acidic in nature, those millions and millions of water beads, if they are not dry away, okay, not wiped away, and when the sun comes out, the water will definitely evaporate, but it will leave behind a lot of the minerals. And those minerals will etch themselves onto your wax, onto your coating, onto your paintworks clear coat, and might eventually cause a lot of difficult to remove hard watermark stains or acid rain etching stains. And that is a huge issue in many countries where it rains often, such as Thailand, Malaysia, the Philippines, Indonesia, who knows, maybe even in Louisiana. So it all depends on the environment. The environment actually dictates what kind of final layer of product to be used on your car. For example, if you are living in Vermont and you have a beautiful garage and the weather is very nice and cool, you don't use the car often, well, you can use a high-grade Canuba wax. No issues, it will last for a long time. But if you are in the Philippines and the car is parked outside mostly, and you use a Canuba wax, well, the car will look great, but it will retain a lot of dust and dirt, leading to more higher chances of staining. So you have to be cognizant of your environment, what country you live in, what environment the car is used under. So, one of the main questions that you need to ask yourself when you look at those advertisements and promotional materials and YouTube videos where the person sprays water on the hood of the car, mostly on the hood, and you see a lot of water cascading off, well, ask yourself, is that thing important to you? Actually, what does that characteristic give you? What benefit does it give you? Water flowing away like that? Or what you actually want is dirt repellency. You want a product that has a greater stain release properties, a product that is capable of retaining the least amount of contaminants. Is that what you want? It is possibly what you want, because please remember, there are many products out there, such as Japanese high-tech synthetic waxes that give you good looks, tenacious water repellency, very, very nice water beads. But if you don't wash the car often, you will realize that it tends to accumulate dirt and grime even more than any unwaxed surfaces or any coated surfaces. You have to be cognizant of this fact that different products at any price range will possess different stain release qualities. So a cheap wax that you buy from the shop, a cheap wax, so-called a wax, let's just call it loosely a wax or a polish, you apply it to your car. Let's say it's a product called New Finish. It's not that cheap in Malaysia. It's a very old product. You apply it on your car, but you realize that after every rain, the car looks less dirty compared to you using, let's say, a Meguiar's $100 over RM $100 over synthetic wax. Now, why is it like that? Well, it's all got to do with the formulation. Some formulations tend to retain more dirt within them. See? So you have to
know which products to buy, and when a person pushes any type of wax or polish or whatever you call it, the final layer, when a person pushes a final layer product to you, please remember, it is not only the gloss level that is important. It is not only how great it makes the car look like, okay? Because if that product retains a lot of stains, then it will give you issues, and that is something that I would like all of you to think about. Thank you.